I want to welcome you to our study on 1st and 2nd Thessalonians. We will just be doing a short forward this morning, and I pray that this study will be a blessing to all of you. To get a good background of 1 Thessalonians, we need to read Acts chapter 17, verse 1 through 9, where Paul and Silas had went to Thessalonica. 17 verse 1 states, "Now when they had passed through Amphipolis and Apollonia, they came to Thessalonica, where there was a synagogue of the Jews. And Paul, as his manner was, went in unto them, and 3 Sabbath days reasoned with them out of the Scriptures, opening and alleging that Christ must needs have suffered, and risen again from the dead, and that this Jesus whom I preached unto you is Christ. And some of them believed, and consorted with Paul and Silas, and of the devout Greeks a great multitude, and of the chief women not a few. But the Jews which believed not, moved with envy, took on them certain lewd fellows of the baser sort, and gathered a company, and set all the city on an uproar, and assaulted the house of Jason, and sought to bring them out of the people. And when they found them not, they drew Jason and certain brethren unto the rulers of the city, crying, These that have turned the world upside down are come hither also, whom Jason hath received. And these do all contrary to the decrees of Caesar, saying that there is not a king, one Jesus. And they troubled the people and the rulers of the city when they heard these things. And when they had taken security of Jason and of the other, they let them go." What an inspiring story. Paul and Silas went to Thessalonica. There was a synagogue of the Jews. Being Jewish brethren, they could actually go to the synagogue and be well received and accepted. In this case, they were. When he went to the synagogue for 3 Sabbath days, he reasoned out of the Bible. The Old Testament reveals to us the doctrines of the New, and the New reveals to us the intentions of the Old Testament Scriptures. And so, using the Old Testament Scriptures, Paul reasoned that Christ must needs have suffered and risen again from the dead, and that Jesus Christ, whom Paul had preached to them, was Christ. And some of them believed. When we preach the Word of God in its fullness and boldness, and preach the death, burial, and resurrection of Jesus Christ, the reality of heaven and the reality of hell, and judgment to come, and our living soul, then God will bless, and people will be saved. Some of the devout Greeks believed, and a great multitude. Now the Jews, there were certain of them that which believed not, they moved with envy, and they gathered a company of lewd fellows, and they assaulted the house of Jason, brought the city into an uproar, and sought to bring out to the people. They, quite frankly, wanted them dead. When they did not find Paul and Silas, they drew Jason and certain other people out, and crying, These that have turned the world down are come hither also. Now Jason had received them, and they said that the doctrines of Christ were contrary to the decrees of Caesar. Now that was true. The world and the decrees of this world are against the things of God and the Lord Jesus Christ. That's the beginning of Paul's ministry in Thessalonica. These 2 letters are in respect to what happened there. The people know what had happened. The book of 1st Thessalonians talks about soul winning efforts. It talks about people being in idolatry, being saved and converted. It talks about establishing a local New Testament Bible believing, and we'll put Baptist church in there. It talks about people learning the grace of God and growing up in grace. It talks about the second coming of Jesus Christ for the church. It talks about how one day we'll meet Jesus Christ in the air. There's many wonderful truths in the book of 1st and 2nd Thessalonians. We need to read them and study them. In our next lesson, we'll start in 1 Thessalonians chapter 1. We hope to see you then. Thank you very much.